Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the Soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Hello there, and welcome to all my listeners. Today we have a special episode as we are going to talk about what I call a number topic group. 3 numbers that show up in your core numbers and form a unique personality, a unique energetic composition. But if you're new here before anything else, I want to welcome you to my podcast. We discuss numerology as a path for inner transformation, spiritual growth, self-understanding, and I personally attempt to make numerology accessible and applicable for everyday life matters. And I do my best to provide you with grounded information so that you can apply numerology in order to make your life better, more conscious, more balanced, and much more aligned with your soul and your true deep purpose. Now, here are a few ways you can dive deeper into numerology should you wish to do so. First and foremost, you can book a numerology reading with me. In a numerology reading, you can ask any question that is burning in your life and get precise answers tailored especially to you based on your numbers and based on the current period in your life. You can read more about my readings and contact me through the link in the episode description to book your reading with me. Now, if you wish to study numerology on a deeper level or even pursue it as a career, I'm inviting you to check out my numerology study paths. First, check out my self-study numerology courses that give you the rare opportunity to learn numerology online at your own pace. My library currently includes 2 self-study courses and more are coming up. You can study my self-study courses on your laptop, on your mobile device, or your tablet. Or if you want to be initiated into the rare depths of numerology, you can sign up to my complete path of certification where you study directly with me all the way from beginner to numerology expert, and you get certified as a real professional numerologist. Now, to read more about both study paths, check the links in the episode description. Now, our main core numbers are very telling of who we really are, what moves and motivates us, what are our biggest strengths and weaknesses, and much more. When I speak of our main core numbers, I'm specifically referring to our sacred triad, namely the life path, the expression, and soul urge numbers. When I approach a numerology chart, I always look at these big 3 first. That's all I need to really get a solid grasp on who any person is. Now, in this episode, I'll be talking about a specific group of numbers, namely the 159, and what it looks like when they occupy your sacred triad. I will point out the main strengths and weaknesses. Now, every number group is interesting. However, sometimes a particular and very homogeneous group of numbers coming together forms, one can say, more pronounced behavioral patterns. And, well, 159 is one of those number groups. So let's explore them deeper. The combination of 159 in the sacred triad is a very powerful and dynamic group combination in terms of energy and freedom. This is truly a personality of freedom and of breaking free of boundaries. This is someone who will always want to challenge the status quo, be a lot on the move, rebel against limitations, and follow their wishes, their visions, their passions. They are very dynamic people. They love excitement, action, and out of the box experiences. They are highly individualistic people, following their own joys, but are also always open to experience a new adventure if you offer it to them. They can be very talented and able to create and pave their own unique path and career. They have a lot of power and charisma and are able to get people to follow them. They just know how to spark the fire of enthusiasm. Another strong quality the 159 people embody is a strong ability to communicate and lead through words. They usually have the gift of the gab, the ability to generate enthusiasm and excitement in others, a natural talent with groups, and also a natural magnetism. This can turn them into leaders, trendsetters, exciting speakers, and people who are always ready to jump headfirst into new adventures. They are bright, quick minded, daring personalities. Fear is not a big theme in their life. They can be explorers and people who have a great passion and need to venture into the new. Imagine those sailors that set sail into the distant horizon out of a great sense of adventure and curiosity to discover what happens at the very edge of the horizon. Being abroad, traveling the world is their second nature, and they thrive on that. The 159 can have a strong sense of creative vision in the sense that everything is possible. This vision can be altruistic or selfish, and that will mainly be determined by where the 9 is located. If the 1 or 5 are more central than the 9, there's more probability that this person is going to be more self motivated. That is especially true if the 5 is at the center. If the 9 is more central than the 1 and the 5, this person may very well be guided by altruistic motives and go about them in ways that are sometimes uncompromising and not taking others too much into account. This is what makes this number group so interesting. This interplay between the selfless and the selfish. There are many fascinating components if you break down this particular number group into number combinations. For example, 5 9 are very open and generous. 1 9 are very fiery, idealistic, and leadership oriented. Whereas 1 5 are very loyal to their own desires and wishes and are also very selfish and inconsiderate. Now, put all of these together as a number group 159, and you have a fascinating blend of altruistic, selfish, and powerful leader. Naturally, these forces can sometimes be at odds with each other, and even cancel one another. And by the way, when I speak of one of these numbers being at the center, well, if we're speaking about the sacred triad, the center would be the life path number, the most central axis of your chart, the deepest motivating element in your being. And that matters a lot. And since I already mentioned these numbers being at odds with each other, that naturally leads us to our next part, which starts to speak about some of the flip side of 159. Let's put it that way. But before I keep talking any further, if you're enjoying this podcast and you want to keep learning more grounded, applicable, and high quality numerology, make sure to click the follow or subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell on the platform you're listening from. And make sure to become part of my numerology community. Also, make sure to check out the comment section and leave a comment on an episode you liked, share your thoughts, and even ask me questions. It's simply your opportunity and our opportunity to connect. And I will always attempt to answer as many questions and comments as I possibly can. Now, having said that, not all platforms allow for commenting. The best place to comment and connect with me is via YouTube. So make sure to do that. Having said that, let's keep going. So far, so good. Seems like 159 is a really awesome person in so many ways. And it's true. But, well, nothing exists in this world without a shadow. And one of the strongest shadows of the 159 personality is the need to rebel. Very often to the point of starting off real fights that can be very harmful and destructive. It's like something in them can't stand structures of any kind. And so their impulse is to break them or sabotage them. It's not uncommon for them to sabotage meaningful relationships in their life. This can be with loved ones, teachers, with mentors, family members, or colleagues. So while on the one hand, they can be very lovely, communicative, exciting, and open minded, on the flip side, they can be destructive and careless. I once had a student, a 159 sacred triad. They were always very outgoing, giving many compliments, many statements of peace and love, until one day, completely out of the blue, they sent me a terrible message that accused me of things that I've never done. They then immediately apologized and claimed that they had not been, that had they not been drunk, this wouldn't have happened. Nevertheless, being on a 159, they never truly reflected on that and got things straight with me. And that's how our relationship ended. Now, I'm sharing this to demonstrate the destructive impulse that exists within the 159. Sometimes, literally, for no apparent reason. Perhaps only because they need to destroy structure when they are working in their shadow. But I also mentioned being drunk, and that leads me to my next point. The 159 personality can really lack a sense of boundaries, and sometimes also a moral compass that helps them draw a line between constructive and destructive. For this reason, I've seen 159s get carried away into unhealthy habits and behaviors. I've seen people who are addicted to drugs or alcohol or both. Something about them is a bit, quote unquote, on the run energetically. and they are not good at facing their problems and shadows. They tend to simply want to keep running. They're not a very reflective type. And that's why, as a way of coping, they will gladly resort to substance abuse. Now, substance abuse doesn't require dealing with your problems, it's a quick fix, which very well fits the 159's very fast tempo and their wish to do things that are out of the box, rebellious, and quote unquote breaking the law, even if it's not needed, even if it's not necessary. Only that in this case, it's simply truly to their own detriment. And what makes it more challenging is that they hate slowing down and reflecting. They simply hate being, quote unquote, told what to do, even if it comes from a friend who tries to help. And so they just keep rolling, sometimes possibly until something is truly wrecked. And only then they are stopped, so to speak, by life on their tracks and have to possibly reflect as much as they can at least. The 159 is really a fascinating, energetic movement between openness and recklessness, between possibility and opportunity, and the destruction of the good that they have, between selflessness and selfishness. In many ways, that is the duality they need to constantly balance and work to bridge to a middle ground, to bring, pardon me. I wanted to say to bring, and I said to bridge. That they are right. That this duality they're trying to bring to a middle ground. Now, I would argue that when number one occupies the life path number and holds the center of gravity, there's less chance for addiction. It's still a little bit more on the let's say, self-centered side, as I've mentioned earlier, but still less chance for addiction as the one is very self-controlled and more masterful. But with 5 and 9 occupying the life path position, there's far more probability of getting carried away into unhealthy places and to overdo things. This is part of the shadowy side, right, of 5 and 9. Now, on the flip side, with 5 and 9 occupying the life path number, the openness and the flexibility aspect of this person will be much more pronounced and emphasized. Now, I love talking about number combinations and number groups and the synergy that they create. Um, there are many possibilities and combinations. What we saw in this episode is a number group with a clear theme. Now, sometimes the sacred triad is, occupied by numbers that are not in clear congruence and not as homogeneous as the 159. And then the theme is also equally more complex, but sometimes perhaps also more balanced. The fact that numbers are in agreement, like with the 159, doesn't necessarily mean that they are agreeing to do something good, quote unquote, or constructive. You could see that in the example of, for example, how fast they can agree to run away from problems and go into substance abuse. Um, or you can just think of people who are all agreeing on stealing something. Hey, we're all in agreement. Let's just go steal, right? So agreeing on something is not always a sign for something good. But nevertheless, it also gives them a great power to live out a very pristine and powerful destiny and to share their gifts with the world in inspiring and impactful ways. So I think that's about the 159 for this episode. It's been a rather short episode, but I just want to have these episodes where I sometimes touch on these number groups and give you the feeling of what happens when we have a theme, right? A theme that's interwoven between the numbers. And so before we wrap this up, if you have enjoyed this podcast episode and you want to keep learning more high quality numerology, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow, and turn on the notifications bell on the platform you're listening from. Just become part of my numerology community. And of course, remember to leave a comment, share your thoughts, ask a question. I'll make sure to answer. And remember, the best place to do that is on YouTube, as we're able to comment back and forth. Now, don't forget also to check out my professional numerology readings. A great, great way to get to know yourself, empower yourself, and be introduced into the world of numerology. And of course, if you want to study numerology on a deeper level, check out my self-study numerology courses and also my in-depth numerology certification studies if you really want to acquire deeper mastery of the art. My friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And as always, I send you my blessings, and I'll see you in the next episodes. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.